Hello, welcome to another Mackenzie Customs tutorial. Today we're going to be painting another portal painting. We're going to be doing two portals. Colors we'll be using is deep blue. We got a purple red. We got dioxazine purple, deep green, titanium white, and lamb black. So the first color we're going to be using is some of this dioxazine purple. We're going to be putting that up right up near the top. You just want to spread this out as much as you can, maybe just about a quarter of the way. The top little part anyway. The next color we'll be using is some of this red purple. You don't need to clean the brush right now. You want to put it on just below the dioxazine purple that you just put on. And add about the same amount. You just want to bring it down another little bit. And kind of blend them together. Just so you get a nice blend. The next color we'll be using is our deep blue. And same thing, you want to blend it into that purple red that you just put there. The next color we'll be using is this deep green. Then we're going to go back to the deep blue. Save this bottom section here for the dioxazine purple. we got our colors on there. We can clean our brush off now. So once you got a clean, dry brush, you're gonna need a little disc, something like that. You don't want to go too big or too small. And you're gonna need your titanium white. Small little chisel brush. Just get some of that thick titanium white on there. All we need to do is just get it there on the corner. So you got your first circle. And we're going to do the same thing just below. You just want to get a little more of your titanium white on there. And we'll put it right there. And we got our two circles. We can grab our clean brush and we just want to feather these out. So we got that feathered out. We can now get our little brush. I just use a regular standard toothbrush. Just makes the stars a little bit easier. You just want to get a little bit of that thinner on your brush, your titanium white. Just a regular brush. Now that you got that done, take our brush we're just using. This one you only want to do about half. Now that we got that done, we're going to take clean, dry fan brush, some of our thick titanium white, not the liquid stuff that you just made. Just a little bit on a fan brush. And you just want to pop in a little bit of color in here. Just something like that. Right in the center. Now we just take our clean brush and you want to fan that out. Now that you got that edges fanned out, we can get some of our deep black or lamb black. You just want to get a little strip of paint like that with your palette knife. And we can start right up. Actually, you know what we'll do first? Just get whatever's left on our brush here. And we'll just pop a couple more stars in there. Just like so. Okay, now we got our palette knife with the black on there. We're just going to come in here. The idea is just to pull down, doing these little jagged motions. And we'll do the same thing for the other side. A little roll of paint. And we got our black on there. And just take another clean brush. I like using a liner brush. Helps get up against the edges a lot nicer. Now that you got that in there, take another brush, start pulling that down. You don't want to go too far. We got our mountain in the distance. I'm going to take that same liner brush that I just used for the mountain with still a little black on it. Dip it in some of that liquid white. You got a bit of a gray color. Just start up here at the peak. And just do these little jagged motions coming down. Now that you got the rough idea of where your highlights and shadows are going to be, you want to take a clean palette knife, mix up some of your deep blue and your thick titanium white. Not too much deep blue, just a tiny little bit. Once you got your blue mixed up, you should have a light blue, something like that. You just want to take a tiny little bit, little roll on there. And you want to decide which side of your mountain is going to have the highlight. And looks like this side should probably be highlight more. So just want to start up there and just pull down along that ridge. and this little ridge. Once again, same thing on the little ridge that we did over here. Once you got a little bit of color in there, come back and just pop in these little highlights. You just want to take a little bit more of that blue and mix it in there, make it a little bit darker. Once you got that little bit darker, just take a little bit of that darker color we made. Just pop in a little highlight there. And that should be good. I just want to clean up this bottom edge. Now that you got that little edge cleaned up, we're going to take our liner brush. I want to go into some of that thick titanium white. You just want to be smaller down here up by the mountain and have it get a little bit wider. Take a little bit bigger brush. Now that we got that in there, we're going to go back to our fan brush. You just want to make sure that you have a clean fan brush for this. I'm going to take some of our deep green. Right along the bottom ridge, bottom of the mountain. Take that green and just go back and forth, creating a line. Once you got a little line in there, you can just, what you want to do is just do these little, just pulling the paint up a little bit. Once you got that little ridge line in there, we can take our liner brush again. And take a little bit of our black and just mix it with the green. Not a whole lot, but just a little. You want that green darker. Excuse me. Once you got the darker green, you can just pop in a little tree. Right there. And right Once you got those distant trees popped in there, you can get eyeliner brush, but one that's just a little bit bigger. Same thing, we'll just get a little bit of this titanium white, mix it in with our black that we have, just so it's not pure white. We want more of a darker gray kind of color. Just start about right there. Oh, you got that in there. Take some of our dark green, the fan brush. And you just want to get the corner there up at the top. And just start zigzagging a little bit of color in here. Now that you got a little bit of color zigzagged in there, that was just to get a little bit of shadow color. Now you want to take a clean palette knife and just mix up a little bit of green in with your white to get a little bit of a lighter color. Now that you got your green mixed up, you can always add a little bit of yellow to it too, and it'll lighten it even to a nicer green. You get a little bit of your thinner on your brush, not too much. You want to do the same thing. Now that you got that in there, you can get a clean fan brush. And some of your thick liquid white, or sorry, thick titanium white. You don't want the liquid white. And we can just start right here. And when you do these motions, you're just kind of pressing and pulling sideways and down. Now that you got that, we'll get the flicker brush that we used for the stars. And we're going to need a clean brush. We'll get some of that liquid white on there. And before we do the stars, we're just going to pop in some on this. And we just got a little white popped in there. We can take a acrylic brush where will work fine. You just want to soften this up a little bit. It will give more of the appearance of fog. Alright, you got that there. We'll take our flicker brush and pop a little bit of spatter, water spatter in there. Now that we got the spatter in there, we can do the same thing that we did up here. We just need to get a little bit of color in the background. So we'll take some of our liquid white or thick white. You just don't want to put too much there. And just right here, just start popping in a little bit of color. Just get a little bit more color if you need to. A little bit of the titanium white. And you're just trying to get this white feathered to the edge. You don't need to go any further than that. So once we got it feathered to the edge, we can do the same thing. We can start with, we're going to probably start with our lamb black. Get a palette knife. Some of that lamb black. And the same thing, we're just going to take our liner brush and touch up the edge. And once we got the shadow in there, just want to touch up that bottom edge. Now we can do the same thing with our little flick brush. Just want to get a little bit of stars in that back part. The same thing, we're going to take our liner brush again and do our highlight line. And get your palette knife and that blue, and just want to do the same thing. Just get some highlights in along the ridge of the same color that you're using on the other side. And then we'll do the same thing for this mountain. We'll just make up that blue a little bit darker. And take a little bit of a roll of that. And just here. And then pull that. Now that we got our mountain in there, just going to do the same thing at the bottom of the mountain. Sweep left to right, clean up that edge. Then we can take just a small little brush and get some of our liquid white on there. Just sort of lay in a bit of a landscape. To do the landscape, simple way is you can just bring a little bit out and then come down. You can see this just gives us a little bit of a landscape layout to set some trees in. We'll get our liner brush again. And we're going to do the same thing. We'll take some of that dark green that we made up. Maybe we'll pop a little tree right in there. And if you have a hard time getting these small little trees in here, you can always use a little guide stick. I'll show you. You just have a little stick, and what you can do is you can just set it anywhere really. Set it up against the side, and you can get your brush and just set it on there. Now you got a couple distant trees. You need to do the same thing for these other ones, but we can use a little bit bigger of a brush. Something like that. Get your dark green on there. And same thing, you just want to start pulling from that line that you made. Not pulling too far out. We got our shadows in there. And we're going to take a fan brush that we were using with either green or a clean fan brush, whichever you got. I have a bunch of fan brushes, so get some of that lighter green. And you just want to start popping in a little bit Oh, we got those ones, that lighter color in there. We can come back to the dark green that we were using. And you're kind of just smashing the color in. Let me just clean up those bottoms. That one we don't need to worry about so much because we do want it coming over the edge a bit. And we'll take our little liner brush again. Get some of that white on there with a little bit of the dark black. Create sort of a gray color. Light gray though. Once you got that in there, well, maybe we'll start over here. We just want to get our path lit up. And we can use a bigger brush so we don't have to do that. Once you got that down there like that, we can take that same brush that we were just using for the trail. Just want to clean it off. Once it's clean and dry, you just want to go into that liquid white. Just get a little bit on there. Then we're going to come in right about here. You just want to press in diagonally and then rotate it. Holding it with these fingers, and you can rotate with those. And then you take your brush and just touch up any little spots. There you got your one moon in. And we can come up here. And we'll just do the same thing. Rotating. And just touch it up. Now that you got that done, you could always come in here and add some birds or some cloud, some birds or a cloud up there, more trees. And you know what I mean? You could add different effects if you'd like. This is just to show you a general idea of what you can do. Now that we got that done, can't forget to sign it. So you can sign whatever corner you like, but I like coming down in this corner if I can. Yeah, once you got your painting signed, that's it. You can, like I say, add different things if you'd like. And if you found this video useful, you can like and subscribe. And we're doing different tutorials. We'll upload another tutorial every week. So thanks a lot for watching.